Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. According to him, he who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays for it. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. All of us have heard the name Warren Buffett before. After all, he is one of the most successful investors in the world. The dude literally became a billionaire because of his shrewd investment skills and, of course, the ability to leverage compound interest to his advantage. So today, we are going to tell you guys about how you can become millionaires by just understanding and utilizing this fantastic concept. So, let's begin. The word compounding gets used a lot whenever people talk about money and their personal finances. But often, these people forget that the other person is entirely oblivious to what this means. Well, it isn't their fault. Our school and education system doesn't exactly prepare us to understand what compound interest is, much less use it to our advantage. So let us start with the word compounding. Compounding is what happens when you take a specific figure and increase it over and over and over again by a percentage. For example, you take 1 and increase it every year by 10%. This isn't the same as adding 0.1 each year. In the case of the latter, you are just adding 0.1 at the end of each year, no matter what the initial value is. But in case of increasing by percentage, you are essentially adding a specific portion of the current value to itself. So, if the value is 1.1 the following year, you will be adding 0.11 the year after that, and so on. Now let us come talk a little about compound interest. You don't merely earn interest on your principal balance when you use compound interest. Even the money that you receive as a result of the interest will make more money for you. Basically, when you apply earned interest to your principal amount, you earn even more interest, compounding your profits. The increase in the balance of your saving account would accelerate over time as you earn interest on greater and higher sums. All of this is possible thanks to the miracle of compound interest. You'd end up with a balance of $4,321.94 if you left $1,000 in this hypothetical savings account for 30 years, receiving a 5% annual interest rate the entire time and never adding another cent to the account. At different time periods, interest can be compounded, that is, added back into the principal. Interest, for example, can be compounded annually, monthly, daily, or even indefinitely. The faster your principal balance rises, the more often interest is compounded. Now, there are a number of factors that determine the rate at which your money will grow. The first one is obviously the rate of return or the profit that you make from your initial investment. If you are someone who has invested his or her money in a dividend-paying stock, the rate of return will be the total profit you earn from capital gains and dividends. The second factor is the time that you leave the money to grow. Now, you can't expect to become a millionaire in just a few years. The more time your money builds up, the more you compound. Now, anyone who likes to reap the profits of compound interest will definitely hate the third factor. This factor is the tax rate or the money you have to pay on your interest. If you don't have to pay taxes, or at least not until the conclusion of the compounding period rather than at the end of each year, you'll end up with a lot more money. This is why tax advantage accounts like the Standard IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, and SEP IRA are so valuable. We'll get into these a little bit later. The notion of the time value of money argues that the value of money changes depending on when it is received. This hypothesis provides the foundation for compound interest. It's preferable to have $100 now rather than receive it in a few years, since you may invest it to earn dividends and interest. Compounding helps you to build your money. Your opportunity cost rises as you delay receiving the $100. the loss of potential earnings if a course of action is not taken, in this situation, the amount of money you will not receive if you do nothing with it. If you didn't invest the $500, you missed out on the chance to make $50 over the course of a year with a 10% return. Your $500 would have grown to $1,427 in 10 years. Compounding and patience are the elements for riches when you grasp the temporal worth of money. Would you be able to accomplish your goal of $1 million for retirement if you could save $800 each month and get an 8% annual return on your investments? The answer to this question is simple. You will be able to cross that $1 million mark in about 29 years. Now, all of this might be sounding a little too complicated, so we are going to explain it in a way that guys understand better. The best way to understand the concepts of compound interest is to put them on a table. For example, if a 20-year-old invests $10,000 today in treasury bills and earns 4% on average over the following 50 years, he will end up with $71,067 if the purchases were made through a tax-free account like a Roth IRA. He would have ended up with $2,890,022 if he had invested in stocks and real estate and had a 12% average rate of return during the same time period. Because of the strength of compounding, adding asset classes with higher yields would result in almost 40 times more money. So, with the definitions clear, let us move to the types of compound interest that are available to you. The first is, of course, a savings account or a certificate of deposit. When you deposit money into a bank account that generates interest, such as a savings account, the interest is deposited and added to your account balance. This aids in the development of your wealth over time. Your 401k and investment account earnings compound over time as well. The percentage gains in stocks from day to day are determined based on the previous day's performance, which means they compound each business day. You may help your balance grow even quicker by reinvesting your dividends and making frequent contributions. We have told you all about how compound interest can be valuable for you guys, but let us give you a little teaser of the situation when you are decided to borrow money. If you borrow money and don't pay it back, you will be charged interest. If you don't pay your interest charges within the time frame specified in your loan, they'll be quote-unquote capitalized or added to your original loan sum. Following then, interest will be charged on the newer, higher loan sum. Another scenario when compound interest acts against you is with credit cards. Now, everyone loves buying things on credit, but the situation turns tired when you are unable to pay off this debt. It continues to grow as the amount you weren't able to pay keeps on growing and increasing. With all these explanations, there must be a question in your mind about how you can make compound interest work in your favor. Well, the first rule that you have to follow is that you need to give yourself self-time. The sooner you start saving and investing your money, the longer it is for the money to grow. The second piece of advice goes without saying, but you need to start paying down your debt aggressively. You must make all the necessary payments on time, even if this means that you do not get to enjoy a cup of coffee from Starbucks every day. Another thing that you need to keep an eye out for is the annual percentage yields. Comparing APVs will give you a better perspective about the best sort of money you could potentially earn. The alternative scenario also holds true. Finally, do take a look at the rate of compounding. The higher the frequency with which an account accumulates interest, the more money you'll make or owe for that matter. Your savings items should be compound as frequently as feasible, while your debt should compound as seldom as possible. Compound interest can be your biggest friend or enemy at the same time. It all depends on what sort of situation you find yourself in. It has the potential to supercharge your savings, all the while having the potential to bleed you dry. So, we recommend that you take advantage of all its positive outcomes and avoid getting embroiled in the bad ones. So that's all the time that we have today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please show me that you do by giving it a one big like. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon on your way out. See you all next time, folks.